Happy Sunday, folks! Welcome back. Today is Sunday, November 21st, 2021. I am Samantha, your host, and as always, we have a great lineup of individuals to start off the week. Starting us off, we have Question of the Week presented by Wesley. Right after, we also have Christopher's Drums Studio.
My favorite celebrity has to be Tom Holland because he is legitimately one of the smallest human beings I have ever seen. He looks like anybody could give him a roughhousing if they really got upset at him. And I'm quite upset at him because he is dating Zendaya. Thank you.
My favorite celebrity is Chris Pratt because he's always landing these amazing roles. Mr. Jurassic Park, Mario, Garfield, you know, he's got it all.
My favorite celebrity is Woody Harrelson because I like the movie season.
My favorite celebrity is Doja Cat because I love her music and she's really awesome. She's really weird and she wears really weird outfits, but I think they're super cool.
My favorite celebrity is Pete Davidson because he's really funny and a really good actor.
My favorite celebrity is Taylor Swift because I really like her music.
My favorite celebrity isn't really a celebrity, but I'll say Emma Chamberlain because I love her style and her coffee is really good.
I think my favorite celebrity right now is like, I don't know, I think No Name. She's a rapper and she's just really sick. She started this thing called like No Name's Book Club, which is where like they read like revolutionary and Marxist texts and they raise money and send books to people in prison. So they are like educating people that are currently like incarcerated and they like work towards like prison reform and stuff like that. And also it's like educational around the stuff that I really like, and I think she's just a really cool person, has a lot of really cool takes, and makes some really cool music. Credit card.
My favorite celebrity is Taylor Swift. I'm very excited for her album coming out in 2 days, so.
Me too.
Yeah.
My favorite celebrity is probably Max Greenfield because I like how humanizing he makes himself on social media to the public.
Awesome, guys. Let's check out the lunches coming up for the 2-day week. Starting off on Monday, we have French toast with yogurt. Tuesday will be chicken patty sandwiches, and then the rest of the week will be break. Let's next check out Veer's segment on the top 10s, and then Sam has his perspective on video games.
Shin Megami Tensei 5 is finally out. Beyond all the anticipation and hype, is the game worth playing, or did the developers miss the mark? Let's take a quick look at the first few hours of the game and see if we can answer that question. The game doesn't take too long until you're thrown into a world of ruin, sprawling with demons. The protagonist of the game is attacked by demons, but quickly saved by someone named Aogami. They fuse to become a being known as a Naohbino. Starting off, I appreciate how quickly the game puts you straight into the action. A lot of recent RPGs have hours of cutscenes and dialogue to read before slowly introducing the player to the game's mechanic. With Shin Megami Tensei 5, the game has a quick introduction and briefly explains some of the basics, but for everything else the game lets you experiment with the combat and exploration. While keeping the story paced with the gameplay creates an experience that always feels like you're finding something new and making progress. The first area of the game has the Naohbino explore a long-since deserted city taken over by demons. The game has a vast open world with plenty of secrets to uncover outside of the main objective. I love the music of the game. A lot of the tracks use guitars, drums, and synths, adding an atmospheric, moody tone to the game. Contrasting that is the battle music, which uses a lot of the same instruments, but in a more loud and bombastic way, getting the player pumped for combat. The game has been fantastic so far, and I'm excited to play more to see if the game can keep up with the level of quality it's shown so far. But until then, this has been my first impressions for Shin Megami Tensei 5.
A special congratulations to all of the National Honor Society inductees that are currently being inducted as the show airs. We are so proud of your accomplishments, their monument, and the community. The Little Guy's Adventure is next up, brought to you by Clementine and Quimby. Let's check out their Little Friends Day. Right after, we have Caitlin sharing insight on celebrity profiles. Please remember, proper mask wearing is keeping our schools open. Please wear your mask over your nose and mouth at all times. This remains true while coughing and sneezing especially. If you are in need of a new and clean mask, they are located in numerous areas around the school. Alright, keeping up with our current theme of profiles, let's check out Ty with this week's student profile. Following, Sarah is going to bring us another segment of Fairy Tales of Old.
Enrique Rosas is a senior student who attends Monument Mountain Regional High School. In school, Enrique is interested in wood tech and history. Enrique is known as a nice kid amongst his peers and teachers and is well liked by many. Outside of school, Enrique works and enjoys hanging with his friends and family. Enrique works at Jico in GB, which is a restaurant that features authentic Mexican cuisine. As far as interests go, Enrique is really interested in skiing. He also is really interested in learning about history as well as different countries and cultures. As far as the future goes, Enrique states that he wants to go to college but is still not 100% sure on what career path or field he wants to go into.
Hello, and welcome to Fairy Tales of Old, where every week we discuss and introduce an old fairy tale that's not as well known, and review it as well as provide possible facts. Last week, we reviewed the Arabian tale, The Ebony Horse, the story of a young prince who was sent up into the sky on a mechanical horse, flew across the world to find a young princess, and returned home with her with the plan to soon be married. Now then, let's get into the story. This week, we'll be reviewing a Scottish tale, edited and published by Joseph Jacobs in 1889. This story is known as Kate Crackernuts. In the story, we are introduced to a king and his daughter Anne, whose mother had died in childbirth. The king was very sad at his wife's death and soon wed another woman who had another daughter named Kate. Comparing the two daughters together by looks, Anne was far prettier than Kate, and the queen felt very angry at this fact. So one morning she asked Anne to walk with her to a hen house. When the two of them arrived at the hen house, the hen wife asked Anne to open a cauldron set aside with the eggs being held inside, for she was in on the plan. When Anne opened the cauldron, a sheep's head flew out and onto her own head, replacing it. The queen, satisfied with this outcome, walked with Anne back up to the castle. Though Kate had never been ashamed of her own looks compared to Anne, and when she saw her stepsister, she did everything she could to help her. When nothing worked, she wrapped a cloth around Anne, and they both set off to another kingdom, looking for a cure that soon might be able to help her. When they arrived at another castle, the servant told the two that they could not house them for the night because one of the princes was quite sick. Kate offered to look after the prince, and the two of them were shown to his chambers where he lay asleep. Kate sat with him the whole night while Anne slept in the corner, and suddenly the prince rose from the bed in a daze and ran out to the stables to collect his horse. Kate followed him, and they rode together through the night while Kate collected nuts from the trees and ended up at a mountain where the prince whispered a few secret words, and the mountain opened to reveal a joyful party full of dancing fairies. The next night, the prince did the same thing, but when Kate arrived at the party, she wandered off from the prince and found a fairy with a wand capable of healing powers. She gave the fairy some of the nuts she had collected, and in return was given the wand, which she used to heal her sister Anne of the sheep's head. The following night she did the same exchange, but with a sack of barley said to cure any sickness, which she used on the prince the next morning. The prince soon realized who he was again, and fell in love with Kate, and his brother, who had met Anne the day before, fell in love with Anne as well. The two couples married, and they all lived happily the rest of their lives. This was quite a clever story with the way it was written, and I really respect Kate and her ways of doing her best to help her sister, as well as a prince who she hardly knew. I've seen this story being compared as the gender flip version of the 12 Dancing Princesses, and I have to say it does remind me of that quite a bit with the way the prince runs off in the middle of the night. I hope you enjoyed this week's story, and I'll see you next time on Fairy Tales of Old.
Winter sports students and guardians. The mandatory parent-athlete meeting is coming up tomorrow, Monday, November 22nd. This will take place at 5 p.m. in the cafeteria. Team breakout sessions will follow immediately at 5:30 as well. For the news, we have our current events segment with Julia. Then next up is Mia and Dakota bringing us their segment on TV show reviews.
Hello everyone and welcome back to me and Dakota's TV review. Why I decided to review this week's show because it just premiered its last episode. I personally love it and it definitely lets my darky side out during every episode. The show has 6 seasons and it's out on Netflix. It is called Supergirl. The show is about Kara Zor-El. She came from Krypton to protect her cousin. I bet you know who he is, but if you don't, it's the famous Clark Kent. Well, she got lost in space for a bit and landed 20 years later than Clark did. She lived with the same family that he did, and she grew up with a sister. When she became adult, she never used her powers until her sister was in danger. She finally then decided it was time to be a hero. She works originally with just 2 guys and then ended up later in the seasons with a whole DEO behind her. DEO means the Department of Extra Normal Operations. Of course, I had romance with a boy who loved her, but she didn't feel the same, to dating a guy who couldn't live on this planet no more. His name was Mon-El. Fun fact, the girl who played Kara, Melissa Benoist, married the actor of Mon-El, Chris Wood. There was also my favorite romance, Brainy, played by Jesse Rath, and Nia, played by Nicole Maines. It was about an artificial intelligence alien from the future falling in love with a trans woman. Well, I already love them as the iconic love trope, the nerdy boy and the popular girl, but it also helps represent the LGBTQ. While Nicole in real life is transgender, she is not the only representation of the LGBTQ. Kara's sister, named Alex, played by Kyler Lee, is a lesbian woman in the show. I also love the fact that they show no matter what your age is, you can always find the real you. With Nia knowing when she was really young and making those changes right away, to Alex, who didn't find out till her mid to late 20s. They also showed the darkness within the world. Of course, with the people trying to destroy the earth, but also when people attacked Nia and her community just for being who they are. Another thing that is really great about the show is the action. I like a good action sequence. While they might not fight or have a big fight scene in every episode, every season comes with some great action. They also know how to leave watchers on their toes. While they might have not meant to with the 5th season cliffhanger, since COVID kind of shut them down for a little, it was still an awful but great way to end the season, as watchers just went on Google to see if they could find an answer. I love this show so much, and if you like superheroes, you would like this show too. It is a CW show, but it's out on Netflix. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Don't forget, due to Thanksgiving break, there will not be a show this upcoming week. We will definitely miss you, but don't fret because we will be resuming our normal program the following week. Finally, we have Carmen, Heidi, and Adriana bringing us their segment for the week, which is followed by Wilbur and Pedro's segment. That concludes our show for today. It's always a great way to start off the week. Thank you for always tuning in and showing us continued support. If you have any suggestions, please send us an email at monument.tv2021@gmail.com. Due to Thanksgiving, we will not be airing next week, but we look forward to returning the following week. This has been Samantha from MMTV, signing off. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.